Tyler Boyd has a ridiculous amount of confidence, so much so that I think he might be a little bit more confident than Baker Mayfield because, well, he did call out Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr., and I suppose what we need to do is really see whose side we're on in this debate. So, really quickly before we get to the content, guys, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn notifications on as we are almost at 50,000 subscribers. Other than that, cue that intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Your boy Microphone back again with another video. And guys, oh my goodness, I was literally in the midst of making tomorrow's video for you guys, and then this news popped out. And, well, I figured we could use a little bit of controversy and a little bit of a debate now that it is the NFL offseason. We need to keep ourselves entertained all the way till late August when preseason starts. Hopefully it starts on time. So we're going to jump into this. So for those of you guys that don't know, Tyler Boyd is a wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. He tends to do very, very well when Marvin Lewis is his head coach, AJ Green is on the field, and Andy Dalton's under center. The past 2 seasons, and I know his stats are going to look fairly similar, but he averaged over 1,000 yards receiving, 76 receptions in the 2018 NFL season, and 90 receptions in the 2019 NFL season. But without a doubt, he is probably the best version of himself when defenses are keying in on AJ Green. Now, if you ask me, I think Tyler Boyd is going to be the future #1 wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals as soon as they choose to move on from AJ Green, but until then, AJ Green is still the top dog. So this all starts with a beautiful tweet from the NFL Network saying, which duo are you guys taking in 2020? Trying to just discuss something because, well, we have to go 3 months without football and probably 3 months without any transactions. On your right-handed side, you see Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr., and on your left-handed side, you see Joe Burrow and AJ Green. Now, here's my thing. I want you guys to take like maybe 5 to 10 seconds and comment in the comment section down below. Which duo do you think is going to do better in 2020? I'm going to give you a few seconds. All right. You guys did it? Good. Now look. There's a couple things you have to take into account. It is very, very difficult to judge Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr., and here is why. Baker Mayfield, in the small sample size that we received in his rookie year, he was absolutely remarkable. And then he came back to earth last year. And some people like to point the blame finger at him. You know, I'm looking at you, Colin Cowherd, who for some reason has this beef with Baker Mayfield. But other people just like to point the finger at the fact that Freddie Kitchens wasn't the right man for the job. And surprisingly, I honestly think John Dorsey did a phenomenal job putting a great team around the Cleveland Browns. He was very aggressive in acquiring talent, acquiring Olivier Vernon while also acquiring Odell Beckham Jr. on paper sounded like a phenomenal idea. Signing Sheldon Richardson and having Myles Garrett as your other edge rusher just sounds amazing as well. Then you acquired Demarius Randall and you draft Denzel Ward with your #4 overall pick after selecting Baker Mayfield with your #1 overall pick, and you have a pretty decent defense. You also bring in Jarvis Juice Landry. You have a first-round pick in David Njoku as your tight end, and guess what? You have a second-round pick in Nick Chubb, and also a very good change of pace back in Kareem Hunt. Without a doubt, that Browns team on paper was absolutely stacked. That was a team that, in my opinion, could have made it to the Super Bowl if they were under the right guidance. Now, you belong in either one, you belong in one of two camps when it comes to Baker Mayfield. You either think that he's only good when people are counting him out and people are doubting him, which is this entirely hilarious meme and this joke that's on the internet, or you just believe that he was not put in the best position to succeed. The best analogy is that you could give a guy a key to the Lamborghini, but if he doesn't know how to drive stick shift, then he's not going to drive it properly, and that's what Freddie Kitchens had last year. Hopefully, this season, the Cleveland Browns get it right again with a brand new head coach and a brand new general manager. I feel like I say this once every 2 years. and they could finally put Baker Mayfield in a situation and in a scheme where he would be able to make the most out of Odell Beckham Jr.'s talents. Now, if you ask me, I think this tweet is preposterous just by the means of you're comparing Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield, two teammates that have already had one season together, where Odell Beckham Jr. had a 1,000-yard receiving season. He only had 4 touchdowns, which is very low considered, which is his second lowest amount of touchdowns in his entire career. But he was still fairly decent, and he averaged 64 yards per game, which is good considering the fact that that team was riddled with chemistry issues. Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, regressed mightily. After throwing for 3,725 yards in his rookie season for 27 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, he came back this season, threw for 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 21 interceptions. He had a 59% completion percentage this year, and last year he had a 64% completion percentage. To give you an idea of how terrible that is, Mitchell Trubisky had a 66.6% completion percentage last season, and this season he had a 63% completion percentage. And once you start having a worse completion percentage than Mitchell Trubisky, although Trubisky's numbers are a little bit inflated because he loves to check the ball down a lot, that's when you get into a dangerous territory. So that's the argument against Odell Beckham and Baker Mayfield. But on the flip side, you have a quarterback that has yet to play with his star wide receiver who is playing on a franchise tag, who is also coming back from an injury that kept him out for the entire season. And what's even more shocking is there's a lot of people that like to hate on Joe Burrow and say that he played with phenomenal talent at LSU, and that one season that he played at LSU was a fluke. And for all you know, it may have been a fluke. We're not going to really know until he gets to the NFL level and we see how he performs in Zach Taylor's offense. But what I think is probably the most insulting thing about Tyler Boyd saying not even close is the fact that Joe Burrow hasn't played with AJ Green yet. But at the same time, the combination of Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't necessarily the greatest combination last year. So there are a lot of variables to this argument. You could claim that Freddie Kitchens was the reason that Baker and Odell Beckham Jr. never fulfilled their potential. But at the same time, you could argue that Joe Burrow and AJ Green would probably make for a significantly better combination than Odell Beckham and Baker Mayfield, just simply because of the fact that they're in a better situation to succeed, assuming that Joe Burrow lives up to his talent level as a #1 overall pick. Whereas Baker Mayfield, as of now, is beginning to look like he isn't going to fulfill the expectations of a #1 overall pick if he does regress for one more season. So the issue with this argument, and the issue with Tyler Boyd saying that this is not even close, is that you could make an argument that this isn't even close. You should give it to Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield, just simply due to the fact that I feel like if they had a better coaching staff, they would have been able to dominate last season, but that wasn't the narrative and that wasn't the situation. OBJ once again had 74 receptions for 1,035 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Tyler Boyd beat him in all 3 of those categories, racking up 90 receptions for 1,046 yards and 5 touchdowns. So it's not really the craziest thing to think that if you insert Joe Burrow instead of Andy Dalton in the Cincinnati offense, on a team that played so horrifically that they won the #1 overall pick, the fact that Tyler Boyd was able to beat out Odell Beckham Jr. in those statistical categories is saying something. So for all you know, Tyler Boyd is just feeling himself and is very, very confident in Joe Burrow. And I feel like we shouldn't try to distort this for what it is. I don't think Tyler Boyd is hating on Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield. Rather, I think Tyler Boyd is just flexing his confidence in his brand new rookie quarterback, and that's exactly what you should do when you have a brand new rookie quarterback. For all you know, Joe Burrow might be having these doubts about himself. He might be coming into this season hearing what other people are saying about him, calling his season at LSU and his Heisman Trophy season that also featured a national championship, a fluke. And that could get to him. So he does need teammates like Tyler Boyd telling him that, hey, I believe that we are the best together and we got your back. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Which duo would you take? Do you think Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr. could make a comeback this season now that they have a brand new head coach in Kevin Stefanski? Or do you think that it's going to be more of the same and the issue was the players and not necessarily the coaching? Do you think Joe Burrow and AJ Green and Tyler Boyd are going to be a superpower on the offensive side of the ball after the Bengals were a defensive team for the last decade? I'd like to hear what you have to say.